said Al-Qaeda would not be there. I said it wouldn't be there. I said we'd get help from the Taliban. What's happening now?
President Biden wrapping up a news conference there where he's addressing the latest Supreme Court decision regarding his student loan forgiveness program, which was all but dashed for the most part, vowing that he will continue to fight, mentioning that there are new programs and new ways that he's saying, a new path, as he put it, to provide student debt relief. We will be telling you more about that here as we put together a comprehensive package for you after these messages. Stay with us. 1010 Winds AccuWeather. We do have that alert in effect for the entire area for unhealthy air. Some improvement expected Sunday and Monday. Hazy and more humid tonight with a low of 68 tomorrow. Hazy sun mixed with clouds, a high of 82. Air quality likely still unhealthy for much of the area. And then tomorrow night, warm and humid with a thunderstorm in parts of the area, a low of 69 degrees. And then Sunday, warm and humid with clouds and some sun, a couple of heavy thunderstorms around with a high of 78. I'm going to regroup for just a moment, and we will be back in just a second. Stay with us. Winds News Time, 4:14.
This is Juliana Tarian, President and CEO of Raleigh Motor Company. 2023 marks the 65th anniversary of our family of dealerships, including Acura, BMW, Lexus, and Mercedes-Benz. It is an honor to be an integral part of the beautiful Long Island community. Come see the Raleigh difference for yourself at one of our locations in Roslyn, Westbury, and Glen, Cove, or online at rally.com.
That's RALLYE.com. Do you believe in second chances? Well, the New York Lottery certainly does, and right now they're giving you a second chance to win $1 million. Visit NYLMyLotterydreamHome.com and enter eligible HGTV's My Lottery Dream Home scratch-off tickets from the New York Lottery for a second chance to win cash prizes up to $1 million. Visit NYLMyLotterydreamHome.com today for a second chance to give your dreams a home. Please play responsibly, must be 18 plus.
There you heard it, President Biden speaking to the nation, trying to provide some calm to the millions of Americans who are stuck with student loans after a ruling from the Supreme Court today, which rebuked his student loan forgiveness proposal. He says it would have helped 40 million Americans, says the website had been set up already, notices sent out to people about the relief they were eligible for, and the money was literally about to go out the door, and then he says special interest and Republican lawmakers stepped in and stopped it. He says he was trying to provide students $10,000 to $20,000 in relief money. The president comparing the PPP benefits, which went out to so many, including Republicans, but he says now they won't help students who've been struggling for years trying to pay their bills. He calls it hypocrisy, says it's not about fairness and forgiving loans. He says it's about forgiving loans that benefit them, referring to Republicans and their businesses. The president goes on to say that we need to find a new way, and he announced a new path to provide student debt relief. He'll ground it in something he called a Higher Education Act, which would which wouldn't compromise or waive or release loans under certain circumstances, or would waive, I should say. And then he has directed his team, he says, to move as quickly as possible under the law. This is still a developing story as to exactly what all of his ideas and his comeback means, if you will, regarding the Supreme Court's decision. We will put that together again, and we'll share more of it with you a little bit later here. Very fluid situation. We're trying to figure out the thing. But in any event, the president is saying that the fight is not over. He has directed his team to move as quickly as possible to create a temporary on-ramp, at least, and a repayment plan to, obviously, to make up for the loss that was suffered today in the wake of the Supreme Court decision. Stay with us for the very latest. In other news on this busy Friday, you hear about this Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk fight. A report out of TMZ saying the Italian government has contacted both to see about literally staging a UFC fight between the two to be held at, you guessed it, the Roman Coliseum. Sources say the Minister of Culture reached out to Zuckerberg a few days ago about staging what could be the biggest fight of the history in the history of the world, in the most fabled fight arena in history. There hadn't been a fight at that Coliseum in hundreds of years. TMZ says its sources say Mark and Musk would love to see the fight go down. We'll see. And from Kansas, you can call them kangaroo cops, and they probably won't be insulted. A pair of police officers in the town of Edwardsville sprang into action with animal control to rescue a hurt kangaroo off the side of a major highway. Apparently, a joey escaped from its owners while it was being transported back from a petting zoo. The injuries weren't serious. The officers were able to round it up and get it to a vet and to get it checked out. Meantime, police put out an advisory. If your kangaroo wandered off last night, please let us know. Okay. The owners apparently raise exotic animals and take them to parks and schools for show and tell. They've been reunited with the animals, so this story has a happy ending. You know, I waited all day to use that line. We're back in a moment. When's news time? 4:18.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-741-3889. 800-741-3889. 800-741-3889.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Here's how we long for Skechers hands-free slip-in footwear.
The world has gone hands-free. However, if you want to put on a pair of sneakers, you still need to bend down and help your feet in. Until now. Introducing Skechers hands-free slip-in footwear. You don't need to reach down to help your heel in. You just step into them and off you go. So what's the secret? Well, there's a special smooth comfort pillow in the heel that helps your foot slide into place. And they stay on just like a pair of laced-up sneakers.
Get hands-free slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
You're all set with your new Navien water heater.
I can't wait to take a shower without running out of hot water. I'm just gonna love my Navien tankless water heater. I just want to say thanks.
Oh, no need to say that, ma'am. You'll always love Navien's high efficiency that will save you money on gas bills compared to other water heaters.
I love how I have more space with its wall-hanging design. Please let me say thanks.
Nope. Sorry, miss. I know you appreciate it, but I can't let you say it.
Why not?
Because with Navien, it's a tankless job.
How long you been waiting to use that?
You'd be surprised.
Find a Navien installer near you at tanklessmadesimple.com. The station you know, the people you trust. 1010 wins. All news, all the time. This is 1010 wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes. We'll give you the world. 83 degrees and mostly sunny skies now at 420. I'm Larry Mullins, and here's what's happening. The Supreme Court finishing out the week with a bang with two more rulings today, one of them dashing President Biden's plans to forgive your old student loan. Mr. Biden says it's not over yet. Speaking to the nation just a moment ago, we'll have his reaction. The court also sided with the Colorado business that refused to give service to a gay couple, and now folks are asking who's next? Blacks and Jews, migrants, women? What are we doing? Around here, smoke's still the big issue coming in from Canada. AccuWeather says it should start to move out of here by the time we get to the actual holiday, but it can't come a moment too soon. This is it for NYPD Commissioner Keishant Sewell. This is her last day on the job, using the occasion to preside over a promotion ceremony in Queens. People talking about a pretty colorful exchange between the mayor and an activist at a town hall where the city's housing crisis came up. AccuWeather says cloudy skies tonight, hazy and humid. We will drop down to a low of 68 degrees. When's news time 421? And from the Mercedes-Benz of Edison.com traffic today. Now, here's Greg Wright.
Now, big trouble on the Grand Central. You got an eastbound and correct near LaGuardia, blocking the left lane closer to City Field. And the westbound Grand Central at Jewel Avenue, that's a separate crash also. Sitting in the left lane. Traffic is sponsored by the Meadowlands Racetrack FanDuel Sportsbook. Scored 2 tickets to Manchester U versus Arsenal on July 22nd by placing a $15 wager by July 11th at the Meadowlands Racetrack FanDuel Sportsbook. No purchase necessary. Details at FanDuelSportsbook.com/ManU v Arsenal. Must be 21 plus and present at the Meadowlands FanDuel Sportsbook. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Elsewhere in Queens, in addition to the Grand Central issues, westbound LI just passed the Cross Island with an accident. That's going to make a mess all the way back into Nassau County. Eastbound B3 in Brooklyn at McGinnis Boulevard. Cars fall down the center lane. That's going to jam you up from the Prospect. And then eastbound B3 dropping again from the Kosciuszko Bridge all the way on up towards Queens Boulevard, where you've got more trouble in the form of a crash waiting for you. Northbound Major Deegan bad from the RFK past the Cross Bronx up to the 230s with a breakdown. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Citybound Georgia about 10 to 15 minutes. All of the action is outbound Lincoln about 15 to 20 in. Outbound Lincoln 20 to 30, 45 to 60 at the outbound Holland, 40 in from the Skyway. Better off the Newark Day. Traffic is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz of Edison.com. I'm Greg Rice, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
Go to Mercedes-Benz of Edison. Experience car buying the Ray Catino way, and you'll see why they were awarded Dealer Raiders 2023 Mercedes-Benz Dealer in New Jersey and Dealer of the Year for the Mid-Atlantic region across all brands. Visit Mercedes-Benz of Edison.
Well, so much for President Biden's original plan to try and ease the financial burdens of millions of Americans who are still struggling to pay off student loans. The U.S. Supreme Court killed that idea today, a move that the president isn't too happy with and blames in part on the Republicans, he says, who challenged the plan.
My plan would not only have been life-changing for millions of Americans, it would have been good for the American economy. Freeing millions of Americans from the crushing burden of student debt. More homes would have been bought, more businesses would have been started, more couples would have had confidence to start a family. Millions of people would have felt they could get on with their lives. These Republicans blocked all that.
Yeah, the president rattled off a few plans, or ideas at least, he says, which could perhaps circumvent all of that. But again, these are things that are early on, and as such, it's going to take a minute to pull it together. He even mentioned that it's going to take some time to do some of these things, temporary fixes, if you will, for those who are now struggling with this debt. We will have more on this later. These things unfold so fast, and we want to give you the right information, so forgive me if we seem a little bit out of whack. In any event, the court wasn't done with that. Oh, no. It was then off to a decision on a critical LGBTQ matter. And once again, some called it a body slam.
In a 6-3 opinion written by Justice Gorsuch, the U.S. Supreme Court sided with a business that designs wedding websites. Lori Smith believes marriage is reserved for unions between one man and one woman, and said she worried the state of Colorado would force her to create websites for same-sex couples. The opinion said the government may not compel a person to speak its own preferred messages. In dissent, Justice Sotomayor said this is the first time in history the Supreme Court has granted a business open to the public a constitutional right to refuse to serve members of a protected class. Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
Now, this is the thing, Wayne's family. Critics say if the vendor didn't want to serve the couple because of their own views, that's fine. The couple could go somewhere else. But then they ask, why would the Supreme Court make it the law of the land, with folks now asking, what's next? Or more importantly, who's next to be refused service? Mark this one to be continued. Back home, we're still dealing with the smoke, but some improvement is expected as we get through the weekend. AccuWeather meteorologist John Pierrick here now with more. John?
Yeah, it's still unhealthy out there, air quality, and that's probably going to be the case tonight and again tomorrow, so you kind of want to limit your time outdoors. If you do need to be out, certainly limit your exertion level, that's for sure. As we head into Sunday and Monday, that's what it looks like. We'll start to get some showers and thunderstorms in here, and that should help to dissipate the smoke. Certainly some improvement as we get into Sunday and Monday.
Thank you, sir, and stay with 10-10 winds throughout this long holiday weekend for your AccuWeather updates. In other news, a top official with former ex-President Trump's 2020 campaign is reportedly cooperating with prosecutors. This as special counsel Jack Smith sets his sights on Rudy Giuliani's role in the former president's efforts to overturn the election results. CNN reporting Mike Roman, who was in charge of the day-to-day for Mr. Trump, had taken the fifth when he testified before a grand jury, but has now agreed to answer the special counsel's questions in an effort to avoid charges himself. Smith's team has been looking closely at the actions of Giuliani and the fake electors plot, along with the former president's other top lawyers, Sidney Powell and John Eastman. Wednesday News Time 426, and now Bloomberg Money Watch. This hour is sponsored by your Tri-State BMW Centers, and here's Dan Schwartzman.
Constellation Brands is the beneficiary of the consumer backlash against Bud Light. The company reporting an 11% growth in beer sales last quarter, with its Modelo Especial replacing Bud Light as the best-selling beer in the entire country. Bud Light sales are down over 30% heading into Father's Day weekend, which was just a few weeks back. Good news for the car industry. The new car market is returning to pre-pandemic levels as supply chain issues have become a thing of the past. According to the average forecast of 7 market researchers, the annual pace of new car sales likely rose in June to over 15.5 million. It was a good day for the markets, the Dow gaining 285 points, the NASDAQ, the big winner, gaining nearly 1.5%. The S&P saw an increase of nearly 1.25%. Bloomberg Money Watch at 26 and 56 past every hour. Dan Schwartzman, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
Wednesday News Time, 427.
1010 Wins congratulates our newest $10,000 winner in our Small Business Challenge.
Playing Kill Studios. Small business really, truly is the backbone of every community because it's a relationship with the people that live in that neighborhood.
The Small Business Challenge, exclusively on 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
Do you hear that? That is the sound of BMW performance without a single piston or cylinder. A generation of all-electric vehicles designed and built like no other. The BMW iX, i7, and i4 revolutionized every drive into a thrilling opportunity to feel the pure rush of BMW 100% electric. But isn't that what you'd expect from the ultimate electric driving machine?
Lease a 2023 BMW iX X-Drive 50 for $929 per month. Visit TriStateBMW.com.
State actors represent actual clients.
After my truck accident, my attorney from the Barnes firm got me $1.4 million.
After my accident, insurance wasn't fair. My attorneys now at the Barnes firm got me $1.2 million.
I'm attorney Rich Barnes. Most people don't know how much their case is worth. Call the Barnes firm now and let us help you get the best result possible. Past results don't predict future outcomes. Manhattan, Long Island.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets, and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Get to downtime in no time at Ocean Edge Resort and Golf Club on Cape Cod. Book a family-friendly multi-bed villa within the villages and experience the excitement of a resort with all of the comforts of home. Pool, golf, tennis, anyone? OceanEdge.com.
AccuWeather says hazy and more humid tonight with a low of 68 degrees. Tomorrow, the hazy sun will mix with the clouds. We'll get to a high of 82. Air quality, though, likely still unhealthy for much of the area. Right now, 83 degrees in Central Park. Good afternoon. I'm Larry Mullins. When's news time at the Tone 4:30.
Good afternoon. I'm Lori Metten. Two major rulings from the U.S. Supreme Court today. The 6 conservative justices sided with a Christian web designer in Colorado who wants to refuse service to same-sex couples. She cited free speech rights. Neil Gorsuch wrote the majority opinion. Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote the dissent, blasting that opinion as profoundly wrong. We now have this special report on the other decision from SCOTUS. Defiant President Biden criticizing the Supreme Court's ruling striking down the student debt forgiveness program. Justices ruling that the Biden administration overstepped its authority, moving without Congress to waive or reduce $400 billion in debt. The president says he thinks the court misinterpreted the Constitution and says Republicans too.
But today's decision has closed one path. Now we're going to pursue another. I'm never going to stop fighting for you. We'll use every tool at our disposal to get you the student debt relief you need and reach your dreams.
The president says his administration is moving in a different direction and will create a temporary year-long on-ramp repayment program for those struggling to pay their debt and interest. Federal student loans were paused during COVID beginning in the Trump administration and are now due to resume in October. In a separate decision on a free speech case, the Supreme Court ruled businesses can refuse services to some customers. That case involved a Christian website.